So, hello everyone, my name is Edwin Balmes and today we're going to talk about analysis of property held by the taxpayer. So, before we begin, let's first understand who is the taxpayer. So, taxpayer is someone who is required by the law to file and pay their tax as imposed and prescribed by National Internal Receipt Code. A taxpayer may be classified into two, which are the individual taxpayer and the corporate taxpayer. So, pag sinabi nating individual taxpayer, this is the natural person with life, living, or sa madaling salita is tayong mga tao. Natural person with income derived from within and the territorial jurisdiction of taxing authority. Kung natatandaan nyo yung tinakal natin last chapter, ito yung mga na-include sa ordinary assets, yung RC, NRC, RA, NRA, etc. So, ang individual taxpayer ay ina-analyze into two properties, which are the personal asset and the business asset. Pag sinabi nating personal asset, ito yung mga property that involve thus not use for business. Does not use personal properties. Ito yung mga property na hindi involved dito yung business transaction. On the other hand, the business asset is an item for value owned by company and creates or benefits a form. So, ang business asset is nakaklassify din into two taxpayer properties, which are the ordinary asset and the capital asset. Sa ordinary assets, this is an asset that used in business or na-include dito yung mga inventory. Pumapasok din sa ordinary assets yung mga property used in trade or yung mga business subject to depreciation. For example, yung mga laptop na ginagamit natin. So, dito palaging involved yung mga regular sales of good or services for profiting para kumita sila or para magkaroon sila ng gain. Pag ordinary asset, tandaan lang natin na ito yung asset na ginagamit sa business at ang ordinary course nito ay mag-create ng profit. So, pag yung asset na binenta mo ay ginamit mo sa business, papasok siya sa ordinary asset. On the other hand naman, ang capital asset naman ay kabaliktaran nito. It is not for sale in the ordinary course. It is capital asset if it's not used in business. Capital asset include other property held by the taxpayer. So, for example, yung gitara ko, hindi naman siya for sale at hindi rin siya ginagamit sa negosyo. That's why capital asset siya. So, let's move on to corporate taxpayer. Pag sinabi naman natin corporate taxpayer, it shall include partnership, no matter how created or format. When we say corporation, it means malawak yung sakop niya kasi nga corporate from the word itself. So, meaning, meron din siyang ordinary asset and capital asset. So, napaliwanag ko naman kanina na pag ordinary asset, yun yung mga asset na ginagamit mo for business. Kapag capital asset naman, it refers to all property held by the taxpayer, whether or not connected with his trade or business, and which not include among real properties considered as ordinary asset. And that is the analysis of property held by the taxpayer. So, let's move on to asset classification is relative. The classification asset or properties as ordinary asset and capital asset does not depend upon the nature of the property but upon the nature of the taxpayer businesses and its usage by the business. So, by means of that, yung properties na kinaklassified as ordinary and capital asset is hindi lamang nakadepende sa nature of the property, kundi nakadepende ito sa nature ng taxpayer sa business at sa usage niya sa business. So, For example, a domestic stocks is an ordinary asset to a dealer in securities, but it is capital asset to non-security dealer. So, alam naman natin na when we say stocks, ito yung mga stocks ng mga foreign companies na traded in a various stock exchanges. Ito yung mga stock outside na tinitrade. So, domestic stocks is an ordinary asset to a dealer in securities, but it is a capital asset in a non-security dealer. Because the security is tradable financial asset of any kind, so naging ordinary asset siya sa dealer. Capital asset naman siya kasi sa capital asset, it is not traded on public exchange as stocks and bonds. So, depende sa usage niya sa business kung siya ba ay papasok sa ordinary asset or sa capital asset. So, let's have another example. A vacant and unused lot is an ordinary asset to a taxpayer engaged in the real estate business, such as a realty dealer, realty developer, or lessor. But it is a capital asset to those not engaged in the real estate businesses. So, eto naman yung vacant and unused lot ay pumapasok sa ordinary asset. Kasi involved siya sa business. Yun yung mga realty dealer and the developer lessor. Anything that gain profit and financial or involved in any business transaction is an ordinary asset. And those do not engage in a business assets such as real estate business is classified as capital asset. Interestingly, the revenue regulation classify real and the other properties acquired, or the ROPA, by banks as the ordinary asset even if banks are not actually engaged in a realty business. This is an apparent recognition of the fact that ROPA normally acquired and sold by the banks in the normal courses of business. However, ROPA is in a form of domestic stocks held by banks or capital asset. Under RR 6 2008, stocks classified as capital asset means all stocks and securities held by taxpayer other than that dealer in securities. So, the revenue is classified as the ROPA, or the real and other properties acquired, is an ordinary asset. Kasi kahit yung banks ay hindi nag-engage sa realty business, kasi ang ROPA, ang normally acquired niya is sold by the banks and their normal courses is a business. Kasi ang ordinary asset and normal course nito is business. So, yung ROPA is a form as domestic stocks that held by the banks. Kaya naman, ang capital assets niya, kaya naman, siya ay capital asset. Dahil according sa RR6 nga, 2008, ang stock is classified as capital asset, meaning lahat ng stocks and securities na held by the taxpayer is capital asset maliban lang sa dealer in securities. And that is why asset classification is so relative. That's all. Thank you.